Welcome to a survival guide to Awoken Lucrummyst. We're not too sure on the name yet, but this is a podcast for the non-awokened, the so-called non-enlightened, though we do consider ourselves quite enlightened. I am Maleficus Dudney, conjurer of the 13th realm of Lucrummyst, dark sorcerer of the forbidden bingo halls, master of illusion and misfortune, manipulator of daubing shadows, bringer of chaos to the serene game, conqueror of the lost vaults of neuromancy. The goblins know me as Krugdul Chaktul, the ogres know me as Gramthar Torment Weaver. In the western lands I am feared as Impanamortis Sinestula, and within the hallowed halls of the Grand Bingo Conclave I bear the title of Usurper of the Blessed Balls. And with me, my brother, Alabaster.
Hey guys, what is up? I am
Alabaster,
Yes?
you can't, you know the Academy wishes us to use our wizard voices out in public.
Oh my god, I forgot. Okay.
I know, that the hypocrisy.
Indeed, the hypocrisy is quite daunting. Anywho, I am Alabaster Dudney. I'm formally acknowledged by the UN as Sorcerer Supreme, and strongest wizard to ever live.
As if.
Shut up. I'm also an actor. I have a new film coming out soon. We'll probably discuss it later, but it's going to be earth-shattering.
Tickets available now, so make sure to
Also-
buy those.
I'm also a character in Fortnite. Don't forget that. And I am an anti-enlightenment activist. And it is a pleasure to be on the podcast today with my...
I'm an alternate skin for that thing. I cost less, but I'm still just as important.
Yes, sure you are, brother. Okay. Well, let's jump right into it. No point delaying. It's a pleasure to be here. And I feel so good getting to finally speak out against these enlightenment do-badders. They just get on my nerves.
Yes, I agree. These so-called enlightened, why do they get to have this name, by the way? Enlightened, as if.
As if, indeed. They think they're so smart with their, orcs are people too, and, gnomes have a place in our society, like ever. They go, send them back to the hovels, is what I say. Deport
Indeed.
those gnomes. What are they doing here? Now, I tell you, they are so useless indeed. I see that on my stroll the other day, I saw them just sitting there in the little hovel, not doing anything. It was
And that's
quite...
what they do. That they don't. What do these gnomes and little munchkins contribute to our society?
The little forest creatures, they just eat dirt all day. I see them do it.
Exactly. And these orcs. Don't get me started on these orcs. They're too brainless to do anything.
You know, I saw one assault a woman yesterday. I was on the street, and I was just minding my own business, and I heard an orc shout at the top of his lungs, like a deranged animal and beast, and he went and yanked at a woman's hair. And I thought, well, if I were in charge, and the Academy had no influence in society, I would have that orc thrown in a box, locked away forever.
Yeah, locked in a cage, never to see the light of day again. I say. Absolutely
no.
preposterous that we're even considering the idea of these ogres becoming having a place in our society. They're obviously dangerous.
They're beasts, and they decided to integrate them as if they were people. Ugh, he's even saying the word disgusting.
Shivers.
Indeed. You know, and it's not even as bad as, well, the fairies.
Did you hear the Academy? Hypocrisy. I don't even get me started on the Academy. They're thinking of allowing ogres into the Academy.
Ogres? Oh my. It's the first time hearing about this. That's so bizarre.
Teaching them magic? These beasts can't handle magic and complex spells. They'll have no idea what to do with them. There's no point in wasting our good tax-paying gold on these orcs.
Oh yes, their brains are far too tiny. I don't know how they're going to learn any spell. Maybe a simple wind spell, or like some kind of identify spell, perhaps. Like the simplest of simple magic. Even novices could do it. But an ogre, learning magic, it's so distant.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. The most they
Hardly,
could do is light up a room. And
hardly even that. Maybe their own person, but not even a room, I have to say.
Indeed, indeed.
Goes beyond the intellectual prowess. Speaking of, they're dumb as rocks. Like, they can't even hold a job.
I mean, that goes without saying. Why are we even proposing this idea of letting orcs into our society if they can't contribute?
They can't contribute anything, and they have higher natural aggression than we do. And I've heard that if given magic, they might even try to overthrow the academy itself that they're even letting it into. It's so
It's a perfectly
bizarre.
reasonable idea. Yes, that very well could happen. And
get it.
as much as I hate the academy, I don't want them seen overthrown. We need to keep the wizard race, keep going.
Keep them strong. That's what I say.
Indeed, indeed. And you know what? I walked down the street today, the Traveler's Road. I didn't see a single orc working.
They were just sitting there, were they?
No, I didn't see a single orc, but none of them were working. So,
Oh my.
I just think they're not contributing anything.
Of course, though, because they're orcs. They can't do anything, except for that. Except kill and hurt and destroy our society. That's all they can do.
Indeed.
They can bring no good to it. You know, I don't even know why we let them in our border walls.
Indeed. I want to... maybe we shouldn't be saying this on the podcast, but I want to propose a thing here. We should ban orcs from our screening of our movie.
You know, that's a great idea, because I feel like perhaps they will go in there and then they'll get... Their emotions spark faster than most people's. And I feel like they'll get
overwhelmed by the lights on the screen and tear it down or disrupt the performance. I wouldn't want that.
Yes, something like that, yes. I feel like they're going to, they're going to react very strangely to the movie, very violently to the movie, because it is beaming with such good and brilliant ideas, and on top of that, it's very thrilling, and, these very emotionally driven creatures, they're going to have issues with this kind of movie.
Our performances are so realistic and vibrant. They may think it's real, and
they might
try to fight us, and we'd kill them. But they've just ruined the experience for everybody, and we wouldn't want that.
Because I'll say that we'd win against an orc. But
indeed.
Yes, they might hurt somebody else in the theater, and on top of that, they will ruin the experience, and as they ruin so many other things in our society, including our children. They're teaching our children violence.
Are they now?
I don't understand. I don't understand why we let them just bring our children into these orc pavilions and show them their violent ways. It makes no sense.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So if our parenting has gone downhill ever since the Great Division.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. It's so weird to me. Almost as if the world itself has been hexed.
Hexed by these enlightened, yes.
Didn't you have something happen to you recently, Mephikus, about concerning a hex?
A hex? Oh, yes. This, it's very unfortunate to say, but my X account seems to have been hexed, and, the password, hidden from view. By a foul witch I think I came across. She was trying to ask me so many questions, and I shoved her away, and she said, "Oh, how rude." But I knew what I was doing. She was trying to trick me into something. So, I believe that witch may have put a hex on my memory, because I forgot my password.
That makes an entire sense, because your memory is flawless, in my opinion. So it
Yes,
only makes
yes.
sense for it to be a hex. And, this Awoken witch, she obviously has malice towards you, because you're just speaking facts and magic. And all she knows are emotions and rage. They're not even too distant from orcs themselves, now that I think about it.
She was very likely enlightened, yes. She's probably, I don't say this lightly, she's probably sleeping with one of those ogres.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Oh god, the mixed, the mixed
can't
race
imagine
stuff. I can't. How that child's gonna have a difficult time growing up in society.
Indeed, indeed.
If
I
they can
pity it. I pity.
Indeed. It's so outlandish to me that we've allowed this to become a thing.
And furthermore, she's probably trying to teach him magic. a futile attempt.
Indeed, it is a futile endeavor. Just like the conception of an orc, an half orc, half human child. They're just going to find diversity, not diversity, division and ridicule in our society. And
Indeed.
of course, it's terrible that they should be allowed to conceive, because those kinds of affronts to the higher powers are not acceptable. We're divided for reasons.
I agree. Yes. Yeah. We are divided for a very good reason. All right, we are separate, but in that separation, our magic and our powers together to fight true evil. That's equality. They're
Indeed,
equal.
Indeed.
Yes. Hurrah.
Though our brains may be a bit bigger than our orcs, they can still do
Well,
as
of
evil,
course.
just the same, but with different methods. And that is why I think teaching them magic and the ways of wizarding will give them a unequal advantage to ourselves, as we don't have the pure strength or the killer instincts. We don't have that. We are civilized by nature, and we can't do that. But they can. They think they can learn our magic, and if they did, they would have an unfair advantage against us, and who knows, maybe even overthrow humans. It's truly a daunting prospect, and conceiving a half orc, half human child, perhaps might even make a super weapon of some sort.
Indeed,
that can't happen.
And we wouldn't want that. We want it to be fair for everybody. So we should, hinder these overpowered magic orcs as if they could even be magic. This is just a hypothetical.
Indeed. I mean, it's preposterous to think they can even learn magic, but if they did, yeah,
they wouldn't have the motor skills to say the magic words, I don't think, or do the intense hand motions that us brilliant wizards have to do.
I know, they probably hold the staff the wrong direction and shoot it up themselves.
Oh, indeed. It'd be a disaster. They'd burn down the academy on the second day.
Oh, I'm sure. Speaking of the academy, I went to there the other day to lecture a group of students, and my goodness, the amount of Awoken there. Makes me scoff.
They have Awoken banners in the main hall, and I burned one. I burned one. I disappeared.
You burned one?
I disappeared, yes.
Fantastic. We need to see more of that. More activism from the anti-enlightenment side. We don't see enough of that nowadays.
Indeed. We are the quiet small group,
Indeed. We are the quiet majority, I believe, in society.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yes. When I was there, I was passing by a group of students heading into a Awoken safe space. Can you believe it? They need a safe space.
This world is not safe. I could walk down the street and burn you alive. It's not safe at all. You're not safe from me.
And you know what? The strangest part, within that safe space, I saw several orcs pretending they were humans going to a safe space. Oh my goodness, it was so daunting and so frivolous.
Humans?
Pretending as if they were humans, attending a prestigious academy, and going to a quote-unquote safe space. No space is safe with an orc present.
Absurd. They're the ones making the safe unsafe.
Indeed.
I'm sorry. I'm getting riled up here.
No, it's okay. I understand. I was riled up at the moment. I almost stormed in there and told them all to leave.
Indeed.
Though I should say, they I believe they've been brainwashed almost. I mean,
brainwashed.
Not brainwashed in the non-magical sense. But
mind controlled. Oh, yes. I see what you mean. How so?
Yes. I believe it's through the Academy's lecturings. The material I was handed for my latest lecture on magical symbol theory. Some of them, some of the notes seem to be incorrect. They removed some of the older, they call them now controversial markings, as this was from the age of older wizards, and they had some ideas that do not align with the current teachings of the academy. And I thought this was silly, as these runes are quite powerful. They are quite powerful, but just because of
indeed. And I believe, though controversial, we need these runes to survive, because like we said, it's an unsafe world, it's an unsafe time. We need powerful runes. So, controversial is... quite frankly, who gives a hoot, huh?
Exactly. I mean, it's just because these runes killed billions of people at one point in life. Like, who cares? You know, they protect as well, you know?
Indeed. Completely, unrelated.
And instead of teaching our students these powerful tools for self-defense, we shovel them into these safe spaces with orcs. Can you believe it? It's preposterous.
Putting them in danger. You're putting innocent wizard kind in danger from these orcs.
Indeed, and we could just teach them self-defense with these beautiful runes crafted by the old masters.
Indeed, by putting these orcs and giving them magical lessons, they might not learn magic, but through instinct alone, because they could not think strategically. No, of course not. But through instinct alone, they could learn how to counter our magic. We can't have that. That's an unfair advantage.
Of course, indeed it is. It doesn't make any sense. Perhaps we'll get back to their homeland and go to the hovels and teach their elders about our ways.
Balance has been held for centuries. This is just the way it's been, and the way it has been going is just fine. We don't need to change that now.
I know. I don't understand it's all conjecture, really. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me that orcs should be given the same privileges as humans. They have their own privileges back home. They don't need our privileges.
I agree. I agree. They're perfectly fine. They should just go back.
That's what I'm saying.
Fine
yes.
there.
I understand.
We don't have the space for them.
Indeed, our continent's almost full. We've been accepting all these dwarves, orcs, gnomes, and other races, of which I don't know how many there are nowadays, but I feel like there's more of it, one more every day. These groups of
many ogres around.
Oh yes, don't.
And now they're letting ogres into bars too. That was my safe space. That was my safe space from ogres.
Indeed, I don't understand. It's like letting a dog into a bar. Dogs can't drink; they'll die. But orcs when they drink, they'll kill.
Indeed. You know what's worse? In my army, my evil army of orcs and whatnot, because all orcs are evil.
Indeed.
They have started forming little clubs, and I've only heard of this because I can't seem to catch them, but I've heard little rumors that there are clubs of enlightened. They're still evil, but they're enlightened evil.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't.
Evil cannot be enlightened. Evil is, by nature, evil. You cannot enlighten something that is evil.
Indeed.
It becomes just evil.
But the thing that really gets me is they formed their own little safe space sessions within my evil army.
Oh my goodness.
For this shell shock. What is this? This is an evil army. You go in, you kill and rape the townspeople, and then we get out of there.
I mean, it's supposed to be evil, but I don't understand. I mean, that's so bizarre. They're soldiers, they're warriors, and
exactly.
they act like children. And your army, of course. I mean, the fact you don't behead them on the spot is bizarre to me.
Oh, I do when I find them, but they keep eluding my capture, almost as if they're avoiding me.
I know, indeed, it is quite the mind virus that has infected your ranks. Not just your ranks, the ranks of our entire militia.
Oh, they've been in their militia too.
Yeah, so our continent, militia, the continent of Lucrummyst, our militia has been allowing orcs into the ranks. They've been allowing dwarves and other races into our ranks, and even fairies. They are fairies. Of the ranks.
Fairies.
They are.
What are fairies gonna do?
They are known non-combatants.
Indeed.
They can't fight.
We squash many of them every day when I send my army in. And how are these orcs getting in? I used to have to work to get orcs in as double agents. Don't they know orcs are evil? I don't understand.
You know, apparently I read the other day that there's a movement on the capital to have orcs reclassified from monstrous creatures to humanoid relatives. And I thought that was crazy.
Humanoid?
You're having orcs reclassified to relative humanoids and away from monsters. They resemble bestial people.
They are monsters.
More than a dog. They are monsters, indeed.
That's simply what they are. We're simply telling the truth, and these Awoken simply can't take the truth. They need to understand that all we're saying, we're just describing them, and what they are, they're monsters. It's simple as.
My men at the capital are vehemently pushing against this movement, but I fear that the time of orcs being classified as monsters is coming to an end. And I pray for the next generations that they have some common sense to undo this effort. As this is indeed terrifying. This is a terrifying prospect, because what this means...
It would put the entire realm of Lucrummyst at danger, all of them.
Yes, it would. Our continent would be in danger, because having them reclassified as relative humanoids means they don't even need proper screening to enter our continent. They could just come right in.
They just walk right in?
Yes.
Preposterous. They would flood it. They would flood. We would have an overcrowding of the 13th realm. What would we do?
Orcs are one of the most popular species on our realm. It's not even just our realm, the other realms as well. They are quite they are indeed one of the biggest populaces. And with this order, they'd be able to flood our gates with no recompense.
They're spreading quite too much.
And beyond that, as relative humanoids, they gain access to facilities meant for humanoids. So don't be alarmed when you see orcs in your bathrooms. That's what I'm saying.
These vile ogres are invading every facet of our society.
I know, it's
unbelievable. And these fairies, you say they're allowed in the army. What do they do?
Apparently, they're being allowed in as combatants.
Combatants?
Now,
not nurses or healers?
Nope, combatants. You know, I was just shocked when you are, because when I initially heard that they're allowed into the armed forces, our militia, I was like, okay, well, you know, perhaps there's some ray of sunshine here. Perhaps they could act as healers, even though their healing skills have been dwindling nowadays. We'll get on to why I think fairies have been dwindling in their healing skills lately.
Indeed.
More Awoken principles, but anyway. I was like, okay, they could be field healers, or perhaps they could weave those soldiers' clothes together when they were torn in battle. No, they allowed them as combatants, giving them magical weapons and armor.
Armor? They would still be crushed within a second. I just have to swat one out of the air. I could conjure a mage hand and hit one from a distance.
I know, it's just... I could wave my hand and they'd be reduced to dust. It's bizarre how...
It's just wasting good taxpayer gold on these fairies.
These are useless fairies, indeed. I don't understand. Our gold is going towards a useless military, full of useless races.
Indeed.
I said it. Useless races.
We'll be overtaken by all the other realms, or by these ogres, in no time, if our militia continues to deteriorate like this. It's indeed absurd.
And so, our beloved listeners here, I suppose you're wondering what to do in this situation when our military is collapsing, and our government is allowing monsters in as people. Well, you must arm yourselves. You must arm yourselves with the strongest magical weapons you can, in the most destructive runes that you can get your hands on.
Indeed. Yes, continue.
And also, hoard as much gold as possible. Gold value is going to skyrocket soon, I'm telling you. Because the Awoken, they're trying to make this thing happen. It's called paper money. Paper money.
Paper? Paper burns! Paper burns! It would be useless.
I know, I scoffed at it myself when I first heard. But no, they're trying to get this paper money thing through. And I was thinking to myself, okay, paper. Interesting. Paper, if you didn't know, it can be copied very easily through magic spells. You don't even need to transmute anything. It is
indeed.
Copying paper is a novice level spell. Novice.
Indeed.
I could even in my sleep.
Even an ogre could learn it. And that's
Even
the
an
issue.
ogre could learn it.
That's the issue, isn't it?
Indeed, I didn't even think about that, actually. Great point, Leviticus. We get to see ogres inflating our economy by copying these new paper, this new paper money.
And seeing as they're all evil, they would have no moral quandary with doing such a thing. It's too dangerous to even consider.
I know, it is beyond. It's beyond. And our Grand Wizard, apparently he's going to be on the big note, and not the one before him. Even though the previous Grand Wizard was a genius, I must say.
And he created society,
as
we know it today.
I know, and this current Grand Wizard, I say with giant air quotes.
Not my wizard, I'll say.
He is not my wizard, I tell you. I say that wizard election was. I say this wizard election was quite rigged. I say it was rigged.
Indeed, I say it was fixed by a hex.
Indeed, I believe that a group of witches and warlocks, they came together and they began to hex this election process.
Indeed, I believe I saw some Awoken wizards standing just behind the ballots. I believe they were casting a spell on all of my submissions to change it into their Grand Wizards vote. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I know. It makes me scoff my head at what this country's coming to.
I'm getting flustered just thinking about it.
I know. There's cheating in a imperial election. It doesn't make any sense.
Indeed.
Why would you need to cheat if your Grand Wizard is so great?
Because they know that us, our listeners, the so-called non-enlightened, the anti-awoken, are clearly the vast majority of the 13th realm of Lucrummyst. And
I understand.
All of Lucrummyst as a whole. And so
yes,
they have to cheat to get their way. It's scummy.
It needed it. It's reprehensible. I don't understand. They're overthrowing. They're throwing aside our democracy in place of what is now authoritarian rule, because they have indeed they've thrown aside our democracy. I mean, they made it so we have an autocracy now.
Indeed.
They've thrown aside the election process and elected a dictator.
Yes.
A dictator.
We need to band together to fight against this dictatorship, this so-called Grand Wizard, and we need to fight for the good old Lucrummyst that has always been and should always be. On our X accounts, you can find, well, very soon I hope to release it. If you buy our course, we'll show you some very basic defense spells to keep yourselves defended from these preposterous, so-called enlightened and awoken wizards.
Yes, indeed. In top of defense spells, we have spells for creating supplies, just in case there was some sort of war or cataclysm to break out. We have spells listed in the survival guide for supply creation.
Indeed, we've
harvesting...
got attack spells. We've got your basic fireball, your magic missile.
We also have ambient mana harvesters. So if you run out of mana in your spell casting, you can just turn those on and harvest the ambient mana and turn them into potions, just like that.
We've got.
And, we're selling them at
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, and we are selling them at the industry best price, only 20 gold pieces for a mana harvester. You'll find that deal nowhere else. You know, we're losing money selling these, actually.
Yes. And, for just a little bit extra, we're also selling, starter wands, which will, simply cast the spell for you. They have they're a little bit weaker, and they have, fewer charges, but they still do just as much against a vile orc or ogre.
Yes, indeed. Don't be fooled by the name starter. These things are quite powerful.
Yes. It's just to help you on your way.
Indeed. Though, even though we did just show our course, we should probably move on to the next topic we have here. And that is, well, you know, we brought it up a bit earlier. Fairies. They entered the militia recently, and we just spoke about that. And I brought up that they have lost their way when it comes to healing. And on top of that, when it comes to
providing.
Let's
be real. Providing for our society. Who's going to provide for us if all the fairies are out of the jar?
Indeed, and you know, just unrelated to military, I believe these Awoken principles have been getting to the fairies. Getting to the fairies.
Very clearly.
Yes, because they are refusing to heal. They're refusing to sew. They are refusing to home make at this point.
Indeed,
they are just.
It's going to destroy society if these Awoken principles get throughout our lands.
I know. I believe you are correct. Our society as it is will crumble. And who knows? Maybe we'll even see a fiery Grand Wizard at some point in this twisted society of ours.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not.
I mean, indeed, it makes me scoff just thinking about it. But no. Yes, you know, my fairy, well trained, very, very wise, I should say. I saw them browsing X the other day, and I was wondering what they were doing. And
browsing
as a good
what?
fairy, X, you know.
Oh, yes.
As a good fairy, I asked her, excuse me, can I see what you're looking at? And I checked their phone, and oh my goodness, the amount of Awoken principles they were scrolling through. It was, you know, and obviously they did not mean to see this because they are my fairy, and I don't allow my fairies to see Awoken.
Indeed, preposterous.
And I don't allow them to see any kinds of Awoken principles in my household. All my fairies work hard, and
it would be dangerous. It would be dangerous if you did. What's the word? Congratulate you for getting that nonsense out of their head.
Yes, indeed. And you know what I did?
What?
I stripped all the access from the internet from all my fairies in my home.
Very good.
Because, you know, the internet is poisoning their minds with this mind virus we call Enlightenmentism and Awokenism. It's poisoning the minds, because I noticed that throughout my household there was more dust, more unwashed dishes than normal. And I was wondering if my fairies were just getting lazy, but no, they were feeding on these Enlightenment principles.
It very well could be both. I mean, they go hand in hand, don't they?
Indeed.
This enlightenment is just an excuse to be lazy.
It is. It is a laziness taken form in our society, and it is truly reprehensible. And I believe that to fix this, we need to go back to the ways of old and just have them
the way it's always been.
The way it's always been.
It's worked this way, and so it should stay this way.
For centuries it's worked this way. Even beyond that. It's nature itself, even.
And
fairies
nature.
have always...
Nature,
yes, nature.
Of, these druids as well.
Oh, the druids.
Druids. You know, they've been pushing this climate agenda. As if it's real. If it were real, the Grand Wizard would just step up and fix it with magic. But he's too lazy to do anything anyway. He's too busy focusing on getting fairies into the military.
I know, indeed. And even if he could, he's not enough powerful. He's not powerful enough to do it. He's weaker than you and I. Yeah, we could probably succeed the throne.
He had to rig the election with other wizards and witches. He couldn't even do it himself.
I know, his own power's too futile.
My wizard could have rigged the election.
Yes, not that we would.
Not that we would, of course not. We would have won.
Yes, we would have won, of course, because we have with the silent majority.
Indeed,
it's just how it is. Indeed, we hold that position in society. Though
we are getting off track. Yes.
Yes, of course. Druids, yes, they've been pushing this climate agenda. They believe the world is heating, and I say, the weather yesterday, I believe it was quite cold, wasn't it? I had to wear a jacket outside.
It was cold. It was chilly. I had to put some fire in my staff, just to keep myself warm. A couple of my ogres died, because it was too cold.
I understand. I heard you come talking to me about this hypothermia they were experiencing, and I thought to myself, wow. Just the other day, I just heard a druid on my talk box, telling me about the global warming epidemic or something.
I believe that's what they call it. Yes, but invite them over to my army camp, and I'll show them all the dead orcs I have from hypothermia.
They understand, yeah. They don't understand that perhaps they're living in such a privileged location to where it's hot all the time. But no, over here it is freezing temperatures, and I understand. If I'm understanding correctly, if the Earth is truly warming, if our realm is warming, then how is it cold over here? How did it snow just a couple days ago?
Because of course it isn't warming. It isn't. It's preposterous. It's preposterous.
What? Even a wizard of our caliber, we couldn't warm the earth ourselves. We couldn't do it.
Of course not. And it's in no interest of the. I'll tell you this. The evil sector of the wizarding world has no interest in warming the world. There's no reason to do it. There's much easier ways to mess with you do-gooders.
I know. We can. It's. I understand that the evil factions they just have they usually use just pure destructive spells. Well, why warm when you can just obliterate?
Of course. It's the way we've always done it, and it's the way we shall continue to do it because it's effective and, quite frankly, fun.
Yes, I understand from your many messages to me that obliterating innocence is quite enjoyable for you.
Yes.
No matter how reprehensible I think it is. We won't get into that today, though.
Indeed.
That's not. I am a wizard for good, and you are a wizard for evil. It's just how it is.
We have our differences in viewpoints. I agree.
Yes, but we come together on these issues because these are important.
Yes, it is important for everyone, regardless of your faction or even, in some cases, your race, to come together and fight against this awoken elite oppression.
Indeed. The other day, it was interesting, really. Perhaps all orcs aren't bad, because,
Well, they're all evil, but...
They're all evil, of course, but perhaps not all of them are as awoken as we believe. Because the other day, I found an orc, minding his own business. I was at, some, witch convention. I was over there protesting or whatever, something like that. And I found an orc there. He approached me, and I thought at first, oh wow, he's gonna come over here and tell me he's gonna get in my business, telling me aggressively.
He'll growl. And
he'll growl like a beast he is, and he'll tell me to leave. And I thought, okay, when we get ready for this, I'll ready explosion spell to dispose of him if I need be, right? So I ready my explosion spell to obliterate his corpse, and just destroy him. And as he approached me, I realized I was on my guard for no reason, because he was like, "Oh, you must be Alabaster Dudley," and I thought, he knows me. Oh, interesting. Okay. Of course, they know me because I'm so famous. But they approached me with support. They thought what I spoke of is beautiful and wise, and they believe that the majority of their kind is, in fact, aggressive, emotional, and not worthy to learn magic, or be have their place in society. And we talked for a bit. I know. We spoke for a bit, and we came to an understanding. It was actually quite beautiful. Maybe one day I'll invite him on here, just to discuss his thoughts further.
That would be nice. That would be nice to have a reasonable orc on here.
I know. They're so hard to come by. But indeed, it was fascinating to find a reasonable orc out in the wild like that.
Incredible. incredible. It does seem, I guess, perhaps a small fraction of them are capable of reasonable thought, but that only makes it all the worse that most of them refuse to think rationally.
Indeed, even if they if they could think rationally, they could be used as servants or like homemakers such as fairies. They could be put to work in that way, instead of just being violent criminals that run across our streets, hurting children and pillaging villages and such. It makes
they
me
could actually contribute to society if they were willing to be rational and be reasonable and be helpful.
I know. It makes me scoff. I love to see orcs being reasonable creatures.
Of course.
But seeing it as well makes me scoff, knowing that the other orcs are choosing not to. They're choosing violence. They're choosing crime.
Yes, if they could be. I mean, they're all evil, but if they could be good, then it would be wonderful to have them in society. We would love that, but
Indeed.
But they're not, and they can't.
They can't. No.
They can't.
This was an exceptional case, indeed.
Of course.
Was exceptional, and I don't see it as ever happening again. Moving on there.
Truly a once in a lifetime opportunity, and
I know it was. I wish you could meet him. Perhaps we'll invite him on one day.
It would be great. It would be great.
Yes. Perhaps he was blessed by some old sage to give him more wisdom.
Yes, if you give me his description, hopefully maybe I can find him in my army among my ranks.
Of course. I believe he said he worked in the Imperial militia. However distasteful that is. But I'll reach out to him and see if he can get in your ranks, because I know your army is so much better than the Imperial.
Yes, he has a standing invitation. If he is listening to this, he has a standing invitation to join our ranks, and I'll personally see to his invitation and onboarding.
I'm sure he'd be enlightened. Sorry, not enlightened. Delighted to enlist.
Yes, careful there, Alabaster.
I must watch my language carefully. Shall I?
Yes. Anyway.
I did want to talk about my recent opening of the Institute of Magical Patriots. This is my school, actually. Don't scoff at my school.
If you want to go and learn from the second-rate wizard, then you may, but...
Hey, I'm not second-rate. I am the Sorcerer Supreme, indeed. Officially announced by the UN. But anyway...
you mean the Awoken UN?
Not the Awoken UN. They're not awoken. I don't think they've not reached the UN yet.
It has?
The mind virus. I don't believe so. Perhaps it has. But even so, it is before the Awoken mind virus kept going around before I got my inauguration as Sorcerer Supreme. So it's a different time, you see.
I still believe they should have chosen me, but...
Well, perhaps you're just a second-rate magician. Anyway, I did want to talk about, at my institute, that we had a magnificent achievement. I believe I tweeted about it a fortnight or two ago, that we had successfully burned 1,000 impure tomes of Awoken Doctrine, and I am so pleased to announce that the burning has completed.
Yeah, congratulations, Alabaster. Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know how these books got into our institute, but they are now gone, and the perpetrators who stuck them in are currently at large. Not beheaded. They are at large. We have the diviners currently scrying their locations, so they should be apprehended sooner rather than later. And
very good.
We will have their heads on pikes in front of the institute soon, as an example of what happens when you smuggle in Awoken Doctrine into my prestigious institute.
Yes, very good. We should.
Indeed.
I will also send my army. I will lend you my army to search for these vagrants and these delinquents. And
I appreciate it.
We shall make sure to get rid of these Awoken.
Indeed, I will. I will send you my diviner's information, and hopefully your army can track them down as well.
As much as I disapprove of your institute, I would not want this enlightenment mind virus spreading to young wizarding youth.
Indeed, indeed. We are vehemently preaching anti-enlightenment principles over at my institute,
Very
and I
good,
believe
very
we are pushing out the most pure of heart and do-gooder wizards that the world has ever seen. I know you don't like to do good apart, but these are truly anti-enlightenment wizards, and they're going to be in the streets sooner rather than later, shaping our continent for the better, and getting rid of these Awokens.
Well, I would much rather them be evil, but I do appreciate, I admit, I appreciate the anti-enlightenment values, the truly good values. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. They are values that supersede good and evil, I believe. They are
Indeed.
values that are imperative to our species and
Imperative to
race.
our survival, just like the balance of good and evil.
Indeed, indeed. Yes, and I believe I'm worried though. Because
Worried, yes.
once these anti-enlightenment wizards get out on the fields and they start spreading the good word, I'm worried about targeted hexing. Of course, you and I have experienced it because
Yes.
we are very vocal about our anti-enlightenment positions, but we have the ability to withstand hexes because we are powerful wizards.
Yes, quite powerful. Yes, although some hexes do get through, like the one that made me forget my X password. Yes,
She must have been quite the powerful witch.
incredibly.
Yes, of course. But these wizards graduating from my institute, they don't hold a candle to you or I. They are still they're still pretty much just fresh into the world.
Of course not. I mean, it is unfair to compare such young wizards to greats such as us.
It's like you're comparing an ant to a blue whale. It's not right.
Quite well said, brother.
Indeed. So I'm worried that there will be targeted hexing on these individuals because I don't put it above the Awoken to not target freshly graduated wizards.
I mean, that may just be even too evil for me. I couldn't imagine these, but you're right. The enlightened would do that.
They would, and we're going to see a generation fearing for themselves out of trying to survive against these targeted hexes. You're going to see spontaneous immolation, freezing, poisoning,
Explosion.
all those kinds of things. Explosion, of course. It's not going to be pretty, and all because they disagree with our principles.
They should be able to have an open conversation with us and not just, hex us. It's
I understand, and I totally agree. And they believe that we are so bad when we are simply just questioning the natural world around us.
Indeed. We're simply wondering about their methods and their statements, their wild statements.
Indeed, we're just asking questions,
Indeed.
and I just can't see how hexing us is going to solve anything. It doesn't solve anything.
We should not have these young wizards grow up in a world where they are afraid to do their wizardly jobs and cast their spells for fear of being hexed.
I know, they're going to grow up. They're going to be working wizards, whether that be in the military or in other services.
Indeed.
They're going to be in the ranks, fearing that their neighbors or their co-workers are secretly scoffing at them. Scoffing. The only things that there's going to be scoffed at in this world are orcs and ogres.
Indeed. I quite agree, brother.
Also gnomes, but we'll get into that later.
Dwarves and gnomes.
Yeah, dwarves as well, yes. But still, they deserve to be scoffed at. And our wizards do not. They do not. They are just simply exercising their rights to speech.
I agree.
And I mean, even the current Grand Wizard, he believes in the rights of speech. He believes in that. So why don't his followers?
Yes. Even the Grand Wizard, though, I again, not my wizard, would not call him Grand, but it is his official title, unfortunately. He does believe in some laws and traditions of what we have done, and one of those wonderful traditions of this realm is free speech. We should be able to speak our mind and have open conversations. But no, they want to hex us. They want to shut us down. They want to say we're crazy old doddering fools.
I understand. Yes, it is quite insane. You know, I'm so happy that the great sage took over, formerly Twitter, now X, and allowed free speech back on the platform. You know, it is so. It makes me so happy to know that we can express our views without fear of removal or termination.
Indeed, he should be the real Grand Wizard.
Indeed, I believe he'd be a better Grand Wizard than our current Grand Wizard.
Although anybody would. An orc.
Indeed.
What?
An orc would even.
Wait a minute.
You know, actually, I've heard.
Yes?
I've heard that. Our current Grand Wizard, his parents are both orcs.
No.
You didn't hear it from me, but they're both orcs. Now, my diviners have been looking into this, and
You think he transmogrified himself into a human?
I think he did.
Ugh.
I think he's using polymorph magic to
It makes me shiver.
to change his form, to infiltrate the ranks of humanity, and lead our nation from the shadows, almost like some sort of deep state.
Deep state. Yes.
It's terrifying that the orcs have infiltrated this far to where our acting Grand Wizard could in fact be a orc. You know, it even makes sense that they're trying to declassify orcs as monsters now.
Yes,
you think about it that way.
Yes, I see the agenda is unwrapping all around us. Yes. I feel so bad for all these young witches and wizards that have to grow up in this world with this deep state.
Indeed, it makes me weep thinking about it.
It's terrible.
But it's sometimes worse. Dwarves can be worse. They can be much worse.
Dwarves, yes,
yes. Man, the other day, I believe I tweeted about this. The dwarves, they fell down on me because they're too heavy. The bones are too heavy, and then the broom hit my broom, and I was teetering almost off course a bit, and I thought, how is a dwarf allowed to fly a broom when their bones are so heavy they can hardly stay off the ground? You know, it doesn't make any sense. They have no flight compatibility with their broom, and barely in a magic capability. The brains are hardly even bigger than an orc's.
Yes, but in this crazy realm, I'm sure the enlightened would argue they should be allowed to try to learn how to fly on a broom, even though they clearly can't. Just like an orc can't learn magic. It's not us trying to quote unquote discriminate against them. It's just the truth. It's just the truth, and it's the way it's always been.
I know, they need to really go back to their realm.
Indeed.
The society over there is much more fit for their kind. Our society here is fit for wizarding humans.
They need to stop trying to force themselves into this great realm and realize that things are good the way they are.
Indeed. There's no point in changing them. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, it's a motto I live by almost.
Yes, well said.
But the dwarves, they've been coming in, and they've been trying to mold society around them, much like the orcs. And granted, the dwarves they have more intellect than orcs, which makes them, a little scarier, because they're smarter. They know how to do things better.
Somewhat smarter. Let's not give them too much credit. I mean...
Indeed. I had no intention of calling them geniuses, or equivalent to our great sage. But... They do have more intellect than an orc, and with that intellect comes cunning. And with cunning comes danger, because that means they could come after me, you, or any of our viewers with evil strategies.
Of course.
To
Which is exactly why you need to buy those training wands, because those fireballs can
Exactly.
take them right out. Yes, yes.
I know.
And here's
ignite
what's
their
more
beards.
worrying. I did see on the ballot, this election, one of the proposed laws was to allow dwarves into the military.
I don't understand. And I heard that if that law passes, the dwarves will not be required to shave their beards. And, it's apparently a part of the culture to have
Part
a
of
long
the
beard.
culture. This is war. This is a combatant. This is combat.
Indeed. If you have a beard that long, it's a tactical disadvantage. As someone could yank it, pull it, ignite it on fire. It doesn't make any sense to have
Of course,
it.
I could
Yet-
transmogrify it or control it to strangle them.
Indeed.
It's a danger. It's a danger, and it's silly to keep it because of culture.
Indeed. It doesn't make any sense to me. And they're just allowing it. They're just saying, yep, part of the culture. So let's give us a tactical disadvantage and pit ourselves with a handicap against the other realms. Like, what are they thinking? Makes no sense. And on top of
Making us
this,
pay for this. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I don't know if you read within this bill as well, but this is a sweeping military bill, and they have decided to defund our military and route funding
defund?
elsewhere. Yes, they're going to defund it. They're going to reroute funds for our military towards public health. And I say our public health is doing quite great.
Oh,
You know,
public health is
I've
fine.
not.
You know what? I'd say our public health would be doing a lot better if all of the fairies kept working and healing. But no,
Indeed,
they want to leave. We don't need public health funding. If all the fairies would just stay out of the military. The military needs to
Indeed.
be funded because all of these we're under attack by all of these fairies and dwarves and ogres. And it clearly fits with the deep state argument because he's defunding the military to make us weaker so they can invade us. It's
Yes.
clear to me. It's clear to me.
It is so clear. It is so clear. And it just makes me think. They want us to be weak. They want our nation to crumble. And they're also seeing problems where there's not. Instead of banning Awoken principles to ensure public health, because the fairies would start going back to work. They would start healing. They would start mending. They would start cleaning again. Increasing public health. If they started removing these principles from our teachings, they would start doing that. But instead, we're rerouting funds from our strong military towards public health, and it's such a blanket, a broad blanket.
Yes.
And I simply don't understand. I believe that money's going to waste, and I believe our military is weak.
If I could
I
withhold
believe-
my funds, I would. I will fight on every front, on every battle that I can, and I suggest all of our viewers do so as well.
I know. What has society come to, indeed?
It's a very
believe-
confusing and scary time, and although I believe I fought in every way I could, am very sorry for all these young viewers that have to grow up in such a terrible world.
Indeed. Just make sure to purchase our course and our starter wands,
Indeed.
as they will help you in these tumultuous times.
They will protect you.
And be sure to buy gold, because if you're not, you'll be poor, because they're trying to launch this paper money. Remember that. Buy gold, buy our course.
I've been much more keen on buying this Bitcoin I've been hearing of, but I
Really?
think- yes, Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I've not heard of that.
Yes,
Ethereum, some kind of potion.
It does sound like it. Yes, I think that's what I'm buying. Quite frankly, I'm not very sure, but I've invested quite a bit into it, and I think it's going to do well. I have a
Is
my,
the elixir going to rise to you at some point in time, or is it just...
well, I don't know. I think probably my yes my I have a psychic in my ranks, and she says that She says it'll come very soon. Yes. So
Okay.
I believe so. But Ethereum, yes, I'll talk to you after the podcast about this. Yes.
Yes, I'm very interested. Cool.
All right.
Well, I think we should wrap up.
Indeed, indeed.
If
But
you guys enjoy, make sure to comment and like, as we'd like to do more of these. And let those you think, more topics, or if you agree with us at all, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon. As
Patreon. Yes, buy our course and make sure to get those training wands to keep yourselves safe.
yes, get those training ones. And I
Or
believe
the
that is
starter
all.
ones. Yes. Thank you again for watching, and make sure to keep wary of hexes and that evil mind virus. We want to keep our realm of Lucrummyst and all of Lucrummyst as a whole safe.
Indeed. We will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.